Hey guys, welcome back to Home Theater Guru. So what do you get if you take high-end home theater seating and you take high-end audiophile seating? You put those two together in a room, they have a love child. You get the Valencia Naples, and that's the seats I'm sitting on right now. So like all Valencia seating, these arrived on a freight truck and they were babied the whole way here. Out of all the manufacturers out there, Valencia really has a nice system when it comes to unboxing their seats. They have instructions on the box to basically flip it upside down, open the bottom first, and then you're gonna flip it back over and just lift the box off of the seats. And the seats will be upright, ready to unpack. You'll take all of the paper off. Just be careful that you don't cut anything. You don't want to cut too deep and cut the seats. And you're just going to attach the backs. There's some little plugs you have to plug up for the backrest, in this case, or the lumbar support. Now there is a zipper on the back of the seat cushion and on the bottom of the headrest or back support. You need to zipper those two together, and I guess this is just to keep popcorn and stuff like that from falling into the abyss. If something falls in that crack, you just reach, it's right there, you know, because that section is zippered together so it can't fall into the seating. So on Valencia's website, there's these seats, the Naples Prestige and also the Naples Elegance. There's two options that are quick ship, and that means you're going to get them within just a few days after ordering. I received these about 5 business days after the actual order was placed. Now, the Naples Prestige that we have here comes with black lacquer armrest, and these are really, I mean, they are awesome. They are some of the nicest seats, period, that I've ever sat in, you know, for a home theater seating or even living room furniture. I mean, they are just beautiful seats. The more I sit in these seats, the more high class I feel. I mean, I've even changed how I drink my drinks. I mean, I still have to have a straw. I'm not a complete savage, but very, very nice armrest. Got a beautiful sheen to it. It's a high gloss, but just really, really nice craftsmanship. The reflection is not a bother, like if you're watching a movie or anything like that. You know, we've got a projection screen in here. There's no reflection that's visible just because of where they're positioned. It's not far enough out to reflect back to your face, so there's no issue there. They don't call any attention to them when you're watching something. So the Naples Prestige, of course, is black, as you can see in the video here. It's a quality Raven Parisian velour. I wasn't sure how I was going to like it because we've always had leather, but when I opened up the package, it was very, very obvious when I first saw these. It's just kind of, you know, it's kind of hard not to say wow. They are super nice. And we're going to get to the audio in just a few minutes because there is a big difference with the audio of these seats. When I said audiophile meets home theater, I really meant it. Now they do have a really cool cup holder. It's not as deep as, you know, your traditional cup holder, but these are to make a statement. I mean, these are just take it up a notch from your standard home theater seating. And we do have LED ambient bass lighting under these. Some people really like that, so you've got that if you want that option. And you've got USB charging at the control panel to the side of your leg. Now, as far as the seat function, we have the standard recliner and we also have lumbar. Now, these don't have a headrest, so I'm sure you've noticed that, and that's part of that audiophile aspect. I mean, I do a lot of rooms, and a lot of the audiophile based guys, they want a sofa. They do not want anything with a high back. They do not want a headrest, and like they really hate seats with headrest. And from a home theater perspective, a lot of us like to just relax, and you know, we want a headrest just because we want to get horizontal and just kind of veg out and watch whatever we're watching, and you know, it's more a relaxation thing. And I've always had that, and I wasn't sure how I was going to adapt to not having a headrest. Well, the first thing I noticed when I put these in the room was the sound. I mean, it's been years since I've had a home theater with anything but leather furniture. All my demo rooms, it's always leather. The sound was just noticeably quieter immediately. Because if you think about it, leather recliners is just this, you know, your whole room is treated with materials, you're handling every reflection, you know, how you deem necessary. You know, whatever reflection is, we're gonna treat it, you know, to get the sound we want at the seats, but then we're sitting on seats that are highly reflective. There comes a point where you have to decide what your priority is. It's all about compromises when you start looking at leather sofa and high backs, things like that. Now, Valencia's home theater seating, their high back seats are not as high as some. And one good thing about it is when the headrests come forward, they don't raise up, so they're not blocking the ear as bad as some other brands are that actually lift up as they come forward. You know, for speakers like rears where they're directly behind you, those other types really kill them. The Valencia Tuscany that we had before these seats were not that bad, but you still get some blockage. We do compensate for that in the design as much as possible, and also whenever we tune the room, there's also some tweaks you can do to kind of overcome it, but you can't really overcome a seat back or a seat headrest blocking your ears. There's nothing you can do to completely make it go away. And that's what Valencia has done here with the Naples. So like I said, immediately it was very evident that the room was quieter. There was no longer these large reflective seats right in the middle of the room. So when I first watched a demo, it was Leaf. I love that demo, you know, one of the Dolby Atmos demos, the older ones, Leaf. It's just awesome. The way everything, you know, comes across the ceiling and all around the room. So I watched that demo, and I gotta say, it was the best this room has sounded ever. Because, I mean, the rears behind me were much more clearer. You know, before we could compensate for that blockage with kind of output and location a little bit, and then we kind of boost them to kind of overcome that slight blockage. But being able to hear them unobstructed is much, it's just nice. It's so much nicer. The separation between all of the speakers is very, very noticeable. We're not getting the reflections off the seat that, even though you may not see them when you measure them, I mean, you can if you know how to measure. You know, you can measure reflections off a leather sofa with and without a blanket over it or something like that. But it's, in listening test, it is extremely audible. I mean, I was just, you know, it's been so long since I've had a non-leather type seating or something that was lower back. I was kind of blown away really by just how much better this room sounded, because it already sounded amazing, but it was just so much clearer. There was or as one of the newer demos, Pufferfish, the Pufferfish video. The sound of the water was much, there's some parts where it's real quiet, like you can barely hear the ripples of the water, and I just didn't really notice them before, but now I'm noticing them a lot more. Because, like I said, the room is a little quieter with these seats in here, absorbing even more sound, but, you know, all this back here in my rears are just so much more, the sound from the frequency response it's actually hitting my ears is so much more accurate than one that I had before where it was partially blocked. Because when you take that little mic, you know, and you put your mic to calibrate your room, the mic is not blocked. But with a high back seat, that's just not the case when you actually sit down. So the mic is never really perfect in regards to how it's going to equate to how we actually hear, or the position of our ears where they're at when we're actually using the room. So it's always going to be a little bit different, and that response you see on the screen, especially for what's behind you, is not going to be the same. Well, with these seats, it is the same because we're not blocking our heads at all. Now, it is going to take a little bit of getting used to not having a headrest, because we really like having a headrest. They are still very, very comfortable. I was kind of worried about having a hard armrest, but honestly, we've watched a couple movies or series in here, probably about 4 or 5 hours worth of use in this room, and just for some reason it doesn't bother me not having a soft pad right here. It's still very comfortable. It was a little uncomfortable when I tried to lay the seats down and try to squish down the rest of my head on it, because I was just used to doing it, and I tried that the first time we watched it and it wasn't that comfortable. And then the next night we watched it, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to sit up and I'm going to use the seats like they were intended. So I pushed my butt all the way into the back, reclined it, and kind of scooted up, and I just sat upright and watched the film, and it was so much better. I was very comfortable. I was just used to resting my head on something, but I was just really much more engaged in what's going on, I guess is the way to put it, versus reclining completely flat, or as flat as the old seats, you know, the Tuscany would go, or any seats I've had in the past. It was just much more engaging in the content, probably because the audio is better, and just something about sitting up like that was actually pretty nice. And that night we actually watched 2 episodes of what we were watching, so we're in here for an hour and a half, and I could have watched a third, but the wife had to get up early the next morning, so we went ahead and called it a night. So I'm a little worried these seats may actually bring me from a home theater guy to an audiophile, and that could be a little bit scary. So we're gonna see how it goes. We'll have some updates in the near future on these seats. I'm really looking forward to spending more time with them. So far, I'm quite impressed with what I've been hearing. Links to these seats and other seats from Valencia are down in the description, including the build your own link. There's a link down there so you can go straight to it and start playing around with building your own just to see what you can do. Valencia is the only brand out there that's doing something to this extreme, to where, I mean, you can just do anything you want with the seats. Custom monogramming, all kinds of different finishes, two tones, different color pipings. I mean, there's all kind of crazy stuff you can do to your seats to make them your own. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next videos come out. Give this video a like, and I'll see y'all next time.